Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Equality Live, breaking through and fighting back.
Hey, Brandon, it's so wonderful to see you. Yes, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Just already thinking back to last year's Equality Live, Brandon, and I'm just so happy to be here to connect with everyone again.
I am so grateful, too. For those who don't know me, my name is Brandon Wolfe. I am the Media Relations Manager here at Equality Florida, and I will be one of your hosts today.
Yes, and I'm so happy to join you. I'm Brittany Link. I'm the Communications Director, she, her pronouns, and yes, I'm so excited to get this party started, Brandon.
I am too. It is always such a pleasure to share space with you. And I am so grateful for everyone tuning in today. If you haven't already, please be sure to click that like button on Facebook, to subscribe to us on YouTube, and to share this event on your pages. I know I already have. I hope you have too, Brittany. We have got so much to cover out the hours. So I say we just dive right in.
Absolutely, that's right, Brandon. I mean, we have had some major developments for LGBTQ equality here in Florida this year. I mean, earlier this year, we saw tremendous victories, which we want to celebrate with everybody today. But we're also now facing horrifically cruel backlash on our community. I mean, this last year has been nothing short of unprecedented in our movement. And as the title suggests, breaking through and fighting back, it has just been full of ups and downs, Brandon.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. You know, today's event really is intended to recognize our supporters, to highlight our involvement as a beneficiary of the Florida AIDS Walk, to celebrate the last year's progress on equality, and to honor an incredible advocate for leading us toward that progress. I'm really, really excited about our award honoree today. We are going to hear from our executive director, Nadine Smith. I know she always inspires us and fills us with the energy that we need. And we're going to enjoy, this might be my favorite part of the program, Brittany. We're going to enjoy two performances from Yoli Mayer, a semi-finalist on America's Got Talent Season 12. And I know many of you will remember her. She gifted us with her talents at last year's Equality Live. But, you know, we also need to recognize, I think you sort of alluded to this, that with every 2 steps forward we take in this movement, this fight for equality, we really often take 1 step back. After 23 years of successfully blocking every piece of expressly anti-LGBTQ legislation, an out-of-control Florida legislature this year has crafted an anti-trans bill and is readying it for the governor's desk as we speak. And, you know, for me, the most unfortunate part about all this is that the bill didn't just appear out of nowhere. In fact, it's a carbon copy of dozens of other anti-trans bills that have swept the nation this year in what is a culture war that is threatening to roll back all of our hard-won progress.
I mean, Brandon, that really can't be overstated. For the first time in decades, Florida has passed an explicitly anti-LGBTQ bill. I mean, this law is exceptionally horrendous. It bans trans girls from participating in school sports with their friends. And Governor Ron DeSantis has said that he is proud. He's proud, he's gloating about it, that, you know, to sign this legislation and to follow the lead of ultra-conservative states like Mississippi, West Virginia, and Tennessee. It's absolutely just horrendous that the governor and Republican leadership have put this target on the backs of vulnerable children. And the thing is, too, that, you know, we want folks to realize is this isn't just a legislative assault that we're seeing. We're seeing hateful anti-LGBTQ attacks spread across the state. Just in recent weeks, hundreds of homophobic protesters have been flooding school board meetings across Florida, demanding an end to life-saving policies that support and protect trans kids. They've been using bullhorns to scream at LGBTQ students and their families, and have been disrupting meetings by shouting anti-trans messages. I mean, Brandon, what we're seeing right now is just absolutely unacceptable.
Unacceptable. That's not who we are as a state. That's not who we are as a nation. And the hatred really is on full display from, as you said, local school districts all the way up to the governor's mansion. I want to be clear for people listening right now. This has been a national coordinated attack on all levels of government. And that's why we need so badly to organize and fight back at every single level. I want to say it again, very loudly and very clearly for everyone who is tuning in right now. We will fight this anti-trans law every step of the way. And we will go school to school in every single district in the state of Florida to protect trans kids. We will always have their backs. But, under these really, as you said, unprecedented conditions, it is going to take strength and support like nothing we've ever seen before. We are going to challenge this law until it's defeated, until every single kid is free to play sports as their true self. But we can't do it alone. We need every single person's help. And that is why I'm challenging all of you to jump into the fight like you never have before. We've set today a fundraising goal of $5,000. I know it sounds like a lot, but together we can get it over the finish line. $5,000 to our emergency defense fund to fight back against this hateful anti-trans law. And I'm going to sweeten the deal even better. We have 2 generous donors who will each match all donations up to that $5,000 goal. So it's a match. It goes directly to our emergency defense fund to protect trans kids. All you have to do right now, if you want to join that fight, is text the word equality to 74121.
That's right, Brandon. I got my phone. I've already pledged my text and sent in my gift. So, I mean, really, folks, this means that every dollar today that you donate will be doubled thanks to these 2 amazing donors. So $1 becomes $2, your $50 donation becomes a $100 donation, all to fuel the fight against this anti-trans law that was passed by the Florida legislature this session, and to help us stop the attacks that we're seeing spread across our state. So please, 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 if you can today, help us reach our goal. As Brandon mentioned, you text equality to 74121. And again, we have a goal of reaching $5,000 during this 1-hour program. So please, anything you can do will be absolutely appreciative. This is an all hands on deck moment to really help us stop this institutionalized hatred. So please, thank you all so much.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm going to text. I'm going to put in my pledge. We do have a tracker, so we'll be pulling it up throughout the program to check on our thermometer and our progress. 5,000. I know, I love the thermometer. That's my favorite part. But before we get into the rest of the program, the thermometer, the incredible entertainment, we did want to set aside just a little bit of time to highlight our top statewide sponsor, PNC Bank. PNC continues to make LGBTQ equality a priority, both within and beyond their offices. I don't know if you know this, Brittany, but for the past 9 years, PNC has earned the Human Rights Campaign Foundation's designation of best places to work for LGBTQ equality, and, oh, by the way, has scored a perfect 100 on their corporate equality index for this year. PNC serves as our presenting sponsor, demonstrating a genuine commitment to providing a fair and inclusive workplace for the LGBTQ community. And I'm very excited that PNC has provided us with a few words that we'd like to play for you now.
Hello, Equality Florida friends. My name is Melissa Mickle, Executive Vice President with PNC Bank. On behalf of PNC and our 53,000 employees across the country, their families and neighbors who live and work in this dynamic and diverse state, we are pleased to support the continued work of Equality Florida. Nearly 60 years after the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, too many Americans continue to face discrimination in housing, in employment, and in making everyday life decisions. While the Civil Rights Act alone did not end discrimination, it marked a long overdue and landmark decision to give many Americans protections that should benefit all of us. Even though 2020 was a uniquely difficult year, Equality Florida has managed to lead the way, engaging the business community, school districts, lawmakers, students, grassroots organizations, families, and more, guiding them along the journey. To that we say, congratulations, Equality Florida. You have made tremendous strides with our legislative bodies in non-discriminatory protections, working tirelessly throughout the year and more recently with the Capitol Lobby Days. And let us not forget the outstanding progress achieved during the launch of the Trans Action Leadership Academy in Jacksonville. Wow. Bravo, Equality Florida. As significant as the headway is and the accomplishments that have been made, there is still much to do. PNC is proud to be your title sponsor and believe that collectively we can and will continue to advance the needs of the marginalized and underserved, seeking out where there is disparate treatment and opportunities and advance equity for all. This, we know, will make our community stronger, more prosperous, and more fulfilling. Thank you, Equality Florida, for your passionate work and for your partnership throughout the year.
We are so thankful for PNC's ongoing support and for the support from all of our sponsors of today's event.
Absolutely. And for those who are just tuning in, I'll highlight that we are aiming to raise $5,000 during today's program for our Emergency Defense Fund to help us fight back against the assault on trans youth in Florida. And Brandon, you mentioned this already, but we have two amazing rock star donors, Jim Blumenfeld and Chris Cooney, who have agreed to match every single donation, dollar for dollar, up to our goal. So all you have to do right now is text equality to 74121 to help us reach our goal.
We can totally do it. Thank you so much to Jim and Chris. We're so grateful. Now, Brittany, I promised everyone that we have a thermometer that we're going to be checking. I feel like it's time to introduce the thermometer to everyone right now. So let's get a check on how we're doing. And see, I'm crossing my fingers. I think we've made progress.
Let's see here.
Okay, so we're almost to $500. Look at that. We're only like 10 minutes into the program, almost to $500. Thank you so much to those who've contributed already. Again, remember, every single dollar you give during the program today is instantly doubled by the incredible Jim and Chris. Our $5,000 that we're trying to raise today will be doubled to $10,000. if we can just reach our goal. So if you haven't already, I've got my phone here. Get out your phone and text it to 74121.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, as we mentioned at the top of the hour, we have so many things to cover during our time here today. But to set the tone and to highlight the stakes of our work this year, Brandon, I think we should remind everyone how we closed out 2020 and how we started 2021.
Yeah, it feels like a lifetime ago that we had an election, by the way, in 2020. A lot has happened in the last year. But I know, Brittany, we are very excited to share with you all a post-election video that we actually aired back in November after, let me just say this again, because it feels really good with the year we've had, after we had decisively won in a landslide victory, the most high stakes election in many of our lives. Now, keep in mind, we've had a ton of developments since the production of this video, but I really think it helps to frame the story for the breakthroughs and the backlash that we've seen since then. So check out this post-election video.
The most important election of our lifetimes is now behind us. President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, the most pro-LGBTQ ticket to ever seek the presidency, made history, securing more votes than any previous candidates and shattering the glass ceiling for women and people of color. This election cycle was a breakthrough for mobilizing LGBTQ voters and our allies in Florida. Equality Florida launched the largest, most ambitious voter mobilization campaign in our organization's history, investing more than $1.5 million to get out our vote. We expanded our field team and built an army of more than 400 hardworking volunteers. Together, we turned out more than 1 million pro-equality voters in Florida, and I'm especially proud that by the eve of Election Day, we had convinced 110,000 pro-equality voters who didn't vote in the 2016 election to cast an early ballot. Now, in a state where a U.S. senator was elected by a margin of fewer than 10,000 votes, and the governor's race was decided by less than 30,000, we know our community can decide the outcome of races up and down the ballot. Florida was also part of the national Rainbow Wave, as 12 openly LGBTQ candidates won their elections. We celebrated historic victories. Florida Senator-elect Chevron Jones and Florida Representative-elect Michelle Rayner became Florida's first elected Black LGBTQ state legislators. But elections are never the finish line, and we can't take our foot off the gas now. We face deep challenges in Florida and nationwide. An avalanche of anti-LGBTQ judges now occupy lifetime appointments. Our nation is deeply divided with hate violence this spiked. But we see reasons for optimism too. Young voters whose attitudes are strongly supportive of equality doubled their turnout from just 4 years ago. And new polling shows that 70% of Americans, an all-time high, favor marriage equality, and 83% favor laws banning anti-LGBTQ discrimination. And we all must remain committed to the longer work of rebuilding America into a country that lives up to the words, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow.
I think every time I hear Nadine speak, that's what we say.
I know. She leaves you speechless.
Exactly. But, as Nadine mentioned in the video, 2020 was the most important general election in many of our lives. We've seen some major progress as a result of it, Brandon, but we're also experiencing some very vile backlash in spite of it.
Yeah, and I don't think you or I could do it justice. So to help parse out some of the complexities of the last year in LGBTQ equality, I think we should go ahead and introduce our main speaker for today's event.
Yes, I'm super excited. Most of you know our executive director, Nadine Smith, but Brandon, I'm sure we have a bunch of new folks who are joining us today, so why don't you do the honors?
I would love to. Nadine Smith is the executive director here at Equality Florida, and she has been truly in this fight for decades. Next year, the organization will celebrate the 25th anniversary, and Nadine has built our movement from the very beginning. We are so fortunate to have her leadership through thick and thin.
And with that, let's turn things over to Nadine.
Right. Well, hello, everybody. I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me. Am I coming through? Well, Brittany and Brandon, thank you so much for that terrific introduction and for, just welcoming everybody to the space. I can tell you that I will be very glad when, instead of gathering via Zoom, we can all be together in the same location, clinking glasses and giving out hugs. So, as you mentioned, it has been quite a wild ride this legislative session. And for the first time, we have seen explicitly anti-LGBT legislation passed in the state of Florida. The anti-trans sports ban now awaits a decision by the governor whether he will veto or whether he will sign. And we have been applying a great deal of pressure to encourage him to veto that toxic piece of legislation that really is part of a coordinated nationwide campaign. But before we get to that, I want to talk about how the year started and the huge victory that I want to make sure everyone fully understands. In the state of Florida, no matter where you live, you are protected from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Now, let me say that again. No matter where you live, you are protected from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity in employment, housing, and public accommodations. So if you experience discrimination, you can seek justice under Florida's civil rights law, just like anybody else. And I underscore this because it can be hard to fully absorb that a goal that we've been seeking for decades has been achieved, and that disbelief may make our community less likely to seek justice. So we will be doing a huge education campaign to really help it sink in. And I also want to underscore how we got here and why these protections are as solid as they are. So back in June, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a ruling in the matter of Bostok versus Clayton County, Georgia. And this decision actually resolved two different cases, several of them, all involving the termination of an employee shortly after they revealed that their gender identity or sexual orientation. Gerald Bostok was fired for conduct unbecoming of an employee after joining a gay softball league, and Amy Stevens revealed that she would live and work full-time as a woman to her employer and was fired for being transgender. Unfortunately, Amy died nearly 1 month to the day before the highest court in the land ruled in her favor. And it was a really strong ruling. In a 6-3 decision, Supreme Court justices made clear that sex discrimination equals gender identity and sexual orientation discrimination. And in some ways, the ruling was surprising given the conservative packing of the court under Trump. But in other ways, it was the obvious conclusion given victories secured by LGBT plaintiffs through the EEOC. The court relied on the outcome of legal cases that have slowly shifted the understanding of sex discrimination. People like Gerald and Amy brought their cases to the EEOC when there was little chance of winning. And in doing so, they began this march towards this victory that we experienced in June. And I want to talk about how those protections came to exist very clearly in Florida, because after this court decision, the question was, how would it be interpreted? How would it, would we have to continue the fight in the courts, state after state, to make sure that the Bostok ruling truly was implemented? So fortunately in Florida, our work with the Florida Commission on Human Relations paid off in ways we couldn't have even imagined a year earlier. And that's one of the reasons that I'm really thrilled that we get an opportunity at the end of this to honor Commissioner Monica Shapiro. I'll get to that in just a moment. There's still work to be done, to be very clear. At the federal level, we need to expand civil rights protections for all. And we have to make sure that no matter where people live in the state of Florida, no matter whether they have a local ordinance or not, they really understand that these protections are there for them. When you've been pushing against a door for decades and that door finally opens, sometimes people can be nervous about stepping through. But rights matter because we get to use them to protect our dignity, our ability to take care of ourselves and our families. So we have this huge victory. And we continue to do the work as part of a coalition pushing for the Federal Equality Act. But one of the things that happens in the aftermath of victory is we always see backlash. And you've heard a little bit about that backlash in Florida. The biggest threat has been this coordinated attack on trans youth. And it hasn't just been Florida. More than 30 states have introduced legislation concocted by a right-wing think tank for the sole purpose of appealing to extremists. And they've introduced them all over. Bans on trans athletes participating in sports, but also bans on trans young people having access to medical care. They're really quite shockingly draconian. And in the past, we've often relied on moderate Republicans, pro-LGBT Republicans, to be the emergency brake against their extremist colleagues. One of the most chilling things about this legislative session has been watching legislators who in the past have served that function, have been behind the scenes, helping to stop some of the excesses of the far right. And in this legislative session, what we saw was them totally capitulate to extremism. It is a shift in Tallahassee that should concern all of us. Not only did they pass the anti-trans legislation, but we also saw them working hard to erode our access to the ballot box and our First Amendment rights to protest. This is a shift in Florida, which has always been, during the existence of Equality Florida, a conservative legislature, but we watched it tip into a kind of extremism that requires all of us, as the title of today suggests, to not only embrace the breakthroughs, but be prepared to fight back. And I'm proud of the fact that many in the legislature did fight back. If you get a chance to watch some of the footage from Tallahassee, you'll see some of our heroes Representative Carlos Guillermo Smith and Michelle Rayner Goolsbee, Omari Hardy, and Ana Escamani giving passionate speeches to fight back. But in the end, they used some last-minute maneuvers in the 11th hour to ram this legislation through without public opinion being allowed to be heard. But I want to leave you on an optimistic note, because what we know is when they come after us and our community comes together, whether it's marriage, ballot measures, where we watched 38 states, including Florida, ban marriage, we also saw our community galvanize. We found people who never thought of themselves as political, willing to tell and share their stories. And in doing so, they shifted hearts and minds. And that is the path to long-term change in society. It's what changes laws, it's what changes the culture, and it is what makes our community safer today than it was the day before. It's important that we lift our voices, that we stand firm even when victory is not assured. And I want to thank each of you for being part of Equality Florida. Our victories are only possible because you invest your time, your talent, and your treasure. And I hope you know that what we do ripples out across the country. And so I want to end tonight recognizing somebody who has been at the very center of the victory that began this year. This breakthrough moment that has ensured that no matter where you live in the state of Florida, you have access to non-discrimination protections. I remember when Monica Shapiro reached out and said, I'm thinking about becoming a commissioner with the Florida Commission on Human Relations. They've reached out to me, but I don't want to do it if I don't think that it can really make a difference. And the biggest celebration came when she was appointed, because it was clear that she wasn't just going to fill a seat. She was somebody who was ready to lead. She had served on the board of SAVE in South Florida. She and her wife raise a child together and have a shared commitment to moving our community forward. And that commitment was made immediately clear in her first hearing as a commissioner, where she brought forward a motion that was embraced by the majority overwhelmingly to recognize Bostok and to ensure that the Florida Commission on Human Relations, which is the agency tasked with enforcing civil rights law in the state of Florida, would recognize sexual orientation and gender identity in housing, employment, and public accommodations. And when the language on the website wasn't exactly right, she went back again and got the commission to make the language crystal clear so that there was no doubt anywhere in the state of Florida that these protections exist. And it's my privilege, my honor to, on behalf of Equality Florida, say thank you to Monica for stepping up in that moment when history required you to be in the right place at the right time with the right spirit and the courage to act. And for that, we acknowledge you this year as our voice for equality. Thank you, and thank you to everyone who has built this organization over time so that we can fight these fights, we can have these breakthroughs, and we can stand together and bask in those victories that are so sweet. Thank you all.
Good afternoon. I stand here today very humbled and grateful for being recognized with the 2021 Voice for Equality Award from Equality Florida. I want to thank Equality Florida for this amazing recognition, and I want to remind you all, you have a fierce and tireless leader and advocate in Nadine Smith as your executive director, and John Harris Maurer as your public policy director, and the entire Equality Florida team. Thank you for all you do. This recognition is truly the culmination of, and a symbol for, the work that so very many before me have diligently strived for in the arena of equal protection. I recognize this has been a monumental advocacy and education effort around the entire state, from both members of the LGBTQ community and our loving allies. Those are the real heroes that have done the heaviest of lifts to get us to this point. I am grateful for all who have paved the road ahead of us, and I'm honored to be in their company. I am grateful for having been given the opportunity to serve the citizens of Florida as a commissioner on the Florida Commission on Human Relations, and have the opportunity to be in a position to make a difference. To my fellow commissioners, I want to thank each of you for having the courage and the conviction to stand up and support doing what is right and ensuring protections for all persons, and that it is preserved in employment, housing, and public accommodations. To my family, you have been a shining example in acceptance and support, and raising me in a way to recognize that all of us are created equal. I am very fortunate to have loving parents who accept and embrace my brother, who is also gay, and I and our spouses for who we are. My daughter for being an amazing young lady who is courageous, and I can't wait to see what she grows up to do in this world. My wife, who is the most loving, incredible, and supportive person I could ever ask for. I love you very much. As many of you know, I am a staunch believer in that discrimination in any form is simply unacceptable. Being a public servant is part of the fabric of who I am, and it started with tremendous role models in my life, my parents. To give you a little context and background, I was raised by Cuban parents, and I've heard many stories of how destructive acts of discrimination played a significant role in their lives when they arrived in this great country in 1961, and how that could break down one's spirit if you let it. I vowed from a very young age to stand up for those who didn't have a voice or may have just not yet had the courage to speak up or loudly enough. I'm extremely grateful and humbled to be recognized today, and honestly, for simply sharing my voice and doing my part to ensure we all have the protections that we as Floridians and as Americans that we all deserve. Let's continue to do the work of the people. It's not over. There's work yet to be done. Thank you again to all that have had a part in this.
Just absolutely incredible, the pair of them. I know that the commissioner is here watching live in the chat. So for all of you who want to wish the commissioner your measure of gratitude, please jump into the chat and thank her. We are so grateful for you, for your leadership, for your passion, for your authenticity. And I love that you put it at the end, just for being you, for sharing your story, for living authentically. That's what turns the tide in this country. That's what turns the tide here in Florida and in our communities. And we are just so immensely grateful for you. And thank you to Nadine for taking time to share your wisdom and really lay it out for us what's at stake. For me, I know probably for you too, Brittany, it is always such a rewarding experience for me to go on the journey of how we got here and how we are going to keep moving forward. Sometimes it can feel like a dark tunnel. And the work of the state legislature this year probably grew me a few extra gray hairs. But when I listen to Nadine, I know that there is hope. I know that there is a path forward, and I have renewed optimism. So thank you both.
Yeah, same here, Brandon. And if you were as moved by Nadine today and her call to fight back as I was, I hope you'll take advantage of the opportunity that we have today, which is a matching gift right now throughout this program. So every donation will be doubled. Just as a reminder, this matching opportunity is and thanks to our amazing donors, Jim Blumenfeld and Chris Cooney. Thank you both so much for this amazing opportunity. And right now, all you have to do is text the word equality, if you haven't already, the word equality to 74121 to donate and take advantage of this incredible double match opportunity.
Absolutely. And Brittany, my favorite thing to do is to check in on our progress. We got to see how we're going. So let's take a look at our thermometer and see how we're going toward our goal of $5,000.
Whoa.
Y'all, we are almost halfway there, and we are halfway through this program. I have every bit of faith in the world that we can get over the finish line. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who's given so far. We are so appreciative of you. Remember that our goal for today is $5,000. That means it's being doubled to $10,000 for our emergency defense fund to fight back against the ban on trans kids playing in sports. We've got about halfway to go, and we're halfway through the program. So if you can help us, all you got to do is get out your phone and text equality to 74121. Absolutely.
Well, Brandon, now, as many of you all have heard, we have a couple of performances from a Florida musical icon who has made it to the national stage.
That's right. Yoli Mayor has been singing since she was just 2 years old. I don't even remember what I was doing besides eating dino nuggets at age 2 years old. Yoli Mayor is a Cuban-American Miami native. She's a singer-songwriter who has found her own voice, which, you know, she's giving me Amy Winehouse, Etta James, like soulful icon vibes.
Absolutely. And publications such as the Miami New Times and the Huffington Post have deemed her a Miami-grown vocal powerhouse. So,
agreed.
Brandon, I'm so ready for this. Take it away, Yoli.
When you meet and it happens, rose-colored glasses. I never learned nothing like this in school. I was running so fast I almost ran past you. Now I'm playing a game with no rules. Left me nothing to decide. You pulled me to the other side. Now I'm never going back. Maybe one day we will change. That's something we cannot avoid. But I won't let it go to waste. No, I won't let you miss the point. You could see it in my face. You could hear it in my voice. I am not afraid, 'cause love is not a choice. Love is not a choice. Love is not a choice. When you meet, it's unspoken. I forgot I was broken. Days into nights, your clothes on the floor. My pride is stolen, stripped down wide open. Brown eyes, you're drawing me into the storm. Fought it from the very start. You knocked me out, you hit me hard. Now I'm never going back. One day we will change. That's something we cannot avoid. But I won't let it go to waste. No, I won't let you miss the point. 'Cause you could see it in my face. You could hear it in my voice. Now I am not afraid, 'cause love is not a choice. Love is not a choice. Love is not a choice. It's like I've seen the sun for the first time when I'm in your arms on a cold night. We forget the world on the outside. Oh, now I'm running fast and I can't stop. Try to pull me back, but I'm too lost. Let me love you like it's my last shot. Oh, maybe one day we will change. That's something we cannot avoid. But I won't let it go to waste. I won't let you miss a point. You could see it in my face. You could hear it in my voice. Now I am not afraid, 'cause love is not a choice. Love is not a choice. Oh, love is not a choice. Love is not a choice.
I'm like totally shook every time I hear Yoli. And I don't think I could have said it any better. Love is not a choice. And when I think about the progress that this community has made, it's been when we say firmly and unapologetically that love is not a choice.
Absolutely. I mean, Brandon, that was just magical. And speaking of another magical moment, I think it's a great time in our show to give a special thank you to the AIDS Healthcare Foundation and the Florida AIDS Walk for including us as beneficiary organizations again this year. And it was extra special this year because we had the opportunity to go to South Florida and do the walk in person. And
In person.
I know, just incredible. I mean, the energy was amazing. We had a terrific group of walkers who marched with us in support of the fight to end HIV stigma, to eradicate HIV transmissions, educate the public, and update Florida's archaic HIV laws. So we were just so thankful for the matching opportunity by the AIDS Healthcare Foundation and what they've provided us over the last year, which allows us to continue this super important critical work that we're doing. So we're also excited for future and continued partnerships with AIDS Healthcare Foundation. Just amazing. So thank you all.
Yes, and I didn't get to go to the walk, so I'm really looking forward to being at the walk next year. I'm marking my calendar, circling it. I will be there, absolutely, 100%. Well, you know, we're sort of rounding it out here, but I can't do that without checking in on our progress. You know, we have a $5,000 goal, and I think we've made some more progress. So I want to check in on our thermometer, if you can, and see how we're doing.
Let's see.
We're almost to $3,000. I feel like, listen, we've got 18 minutes. We just have a little bit left to raise. We can totally do this. Remember, we have a goal of $5,000. All of those donations you're pouring in, thank you. I see your name scrolling across the screen. Thank you. As your donations pour in, every single one of those dollars is being doubled today by our incredible donors, Jim Blumenfeld and Chris Cooney. They have graciously offered to double all donations, put it into our emergency defense fund. That means every single bit is being matched dollar for dollar. So if you're feeling inspired, if you felt moved by Yoli Mayor, if you felt moved by Nadine's powerful words, by Monica's incredible work, please pitch in now. All you have to do is text equality to 74121.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like Brandon said, if you're looking to empower Equality Florida to fight back against the anti-trans law that we're up against right now, please consider using this match to help us meet our goal for the event. We're so close, Brandon. We're so close. And to help inspire you one last time and to close out our event today, we're going to have a second performance by the incredible Yoli Mayor. But before we do, Brandon, I just have to say it has been an amazing hour. We forgot to mention at the top that we are rocking the pink pastels for everybody today. It's a winning.
We didn't even plan that. We didn't plan that. It was an accident.
Exactly. But we look great. And I'm sure everybody who is tuned in today looks amazing as well. It's just gone by so incredibly fast. But I'm always so grateful to co-host with you and to spend time connecting with you and all of the wonderful folks who tuned in today.
Well, the feeling is mutual. I feel like we are so in tune. That's why we both wore pastel pink on the same day. What are the odds, first of all, that I would have a pastel pink jacket anyway, and that we would wear them on the same day. But that's just how in tune we are at Equality Florida. So I am so grateful always to share space with you. Thank you to our incredible production team, David Costa, Nick Machuca, Mark Piscarich here in the room with us, making everything flow smoothly. Thank you to Nadine and to Commissioner Sapero. Thank you to all of you for your support. Again, we set a really lofty goal of $5,000 to raise in an hour. We're over halfway there, and that's all thanks to you. You are the ones who power this work. Every time the going gets tough in Tallahassee, every time they take aim at trans kids, and I just think it can't get any worse, you all swoop in with your passion and your unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. So I'm so grateful to share space with all of you on a Sunday afternoon. Thank you to everyone who's contributed during the program. I hope you stay safe. If you can, get vaccinated. If you are vaccinated, continue taking care of those around you. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday fun day and enjoy this final piece by Yoli Mayor. Bye, everybody.
Tear my body down, hold me underwater till I drown, take from my head this crown, even the darkest night couldn't dim my light. Hope you're ready for a fight. You can bring me down, down. Bust out every whip to lash me down, but you won't find on my face, no, you won't find that frown. Cause if your words didn't work and your lashes don't hurt, do what you will, what you words. You can bring me down, 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 down. I'm breathing fire. I'm breathing fire. I'm breathing fire. Can't you see the smoke coming out of my ears? I'm fighting for love. Can't you see your pain lives in your fears? Biting off more than you can chew. You never expect what I'll do. A bone is stronger once it's broke. Our injuries sealed in gold. Now it's treasures can't be bought, it won't be sold. Even if over us your pain, there's a power to our pain. Fuel you can't contain. We'll tell our story today. Oh, we're breathing fire. Can't you see the smoke coming out of our ears? We're fighting for love. Can't you see? We have no time for tears. You can breathe.